4 seasons coming into this year. Reggie Jackson calls it over the front of the iron.
What's up, guys? It's been a busy day in free agency, especially NL East free agency. The Mets signing Justin Verlander to a 2-year, $86 million deal with a option for a 3rd year. I think it's absolutely insane. I know they were going to do that for sure after losing Jacob deGrom to a 5-year, $185 to the Texas Rangers, and a 6-year that would crawl it over to $202 million, which also think is insane, especially for a pitcher. What's up, Hudson? I know I said I would get this stuff done or get this started at about 7. I was a little off. Trying to get everything in my brain set, but Justin Verlander, $286 to the Mets, $39. I feel like Father Time's gotta eventually win because it always does. I'm not saying that Justin Verlander isn't magical and probably somewhat deserves it after the year he put up last year and finally getting that monkey off his back, so to speak. But I think it's crazy. Even though I think the Mets had to do it after losing deGrom. And I think deGrom's contract is crazy, but I'm really happy for him and I can enjoy him more now that he is in the now that Trey Turner, 11 years, $300. I think the 11 years is nuts because if you look at the deals even prior, like the Pujols deal, the Rendon deal, Philly, the Harper and Philly, that's kind of worked out. What was that, 13-3-36? But he's out for Tommy John, so he'll be out until June, July. So the years are crazy. As far as Dansby goes, apparently he and Alex Anthopoulos had a nice conversation recently. He is getting married this week to Valerie Pugh. So I think honestly, I've always thought it's Dansby or bust. But with LA now needing a shortstop, LA Dodgers, and the Freddie Freeman connection, and the agents connection with Freddie and Dansby, but I do like that there's an open line of communication. Seems to be more so than it was with Freddie and Anthopoulos and company. So I think that's noteworthy. They are loading up once again to go after us, but the Mets are paying $86 million for Scherzer, or $88 million for Scherzer and Justin Verlander, and I'm not saying they're not great. But the Braves are paying a combined $74 million for Matt Olson, Austin Riley, Ozzy Albies, Ronald Acuna Jr., Travis d'Arnaud, Spencer Strider. So we got 6-7 quality players for the amount of money that the Mets paid for 2. And like I said, they are great pitchers. But we even saw Max Scherzer struggle with his oblique last year, and I don't know what's in the water with the Mets and their injuries. But I mean, it's going to be interesting, and the NL East has been the toughest division, top to bottom, for years. So, and I appreciate the fact that there's not really a knee-jerk reaction, so to speak, for Alex Anthopoulos and the Braves. A interesting note, since the Mets signed Justin Verlander, we actually moved up a spot in the draft order from 25 to 26, 25 to 24, because once you enter you pay a certain amount for a certain free agent, your bonus pools for your draft go down. So we got an extra $100,000 to our draft bonus pool, and that might not sound like a lot, but that is super clutch and kind of funny that the Braves benefit, even though it's going to be it's always a dogfight in the NL East. So I think we're still good, and the 11 years thing for Turner, the $300 million doesn't, especially the $300 million doesn't deter me, especially the way the market is these days. It's just the 11 years that there's no way that works out all the years. There's no way. But good for Turner. And I mean, we faced Harper and Turner together before. So it's not anything we haven't faced for sure. Some other news. Brian Cashman. Thank you, Terry. Enjoy whatever dinner you are having. I'm sure it's gonna be good. But I think Brian Cashman signed a 4-year deal to remain the Yankees GM. That's a little weird. Well, not weird, but I guess it's the timing with the Aaron Judge situation. Apparently, he has a 9-year offer on the table. We're assuming it's from the Giants and the Yankees, but not confirmed. And he said at least one, so maybe he's the next. Maybe he's the next domino to fall. You've also got 3 years and $40 million for Zach Eflin to go to the Tampa Bay Rays. I actually like that one for the Tampa Bay Rays. He was actually projected for 330, so it's on par, and it's the biggest free agent contract that the Rays have ever signed, which is a little bit sad, but good, because the Tampa Bay Rays are a pitching factory, and they know what they're doing, so good for Eflin there. But all of these big contracts for pitchers especially makes me like the Charlie Morton deal even more, because I think everybody would love to see those moves, but I think Jamison Tyon's looking for like a Jacob deGrom type deal. I read today he's looking for a 6th year. So I think that's kind of a no for us, but I would love I would certainly love that, because Carlos Rodon is a couple years younger than deGrom and put up better numbers. I know deGrom was hurt for a little while, but 100 more strikeouts, 100 more innings pitched. Trade for Reynolds, I can see, because we were in on it per reports. Obviously, I don't know how much you can rely on reports, when it comes to the Braves, but I think he would be a perfect corner outfielder, perfect solution to our left field issue. I would love to be able to. Yes, Rodon, I believe, has had Tommy John. But I feel like everybody has at this point, but I could be wrong on that. But I believe so. Let's Brian Reynolds. I just don't know how much trade depth we actually have for a guy like Brian Reynolds. And I would not put him in center field because the defensive metrics, I know a lot of people don't rely on those, but he had a -7 outs above average. So he's definitely a corner outfield for whoever gets him. I would love him, but I feel like the thing that we talk about every week on this so far is the roadblock of Marcell Ozuna being owed $37 million, because I still think Eddie Rosario would be a productive platoon or DH, because you still need lefty power, and I can't imagine that Eddie Rosario is going to have a worse year than he did last year, because obviously he had a hole in his eye. So I feel like I think we just need to give him a chance, just like Charlie Morton. I know that the 1 year, $20 million has a lot of people iffy, but with all of these incredible, long, lucrative pitching contracts, the 1 year contract for $20 million for Charlie Morton, who, sorry, I'm halfway watching the Hornets as well, but for the $20 million that we signed with Charlie Morton, he's an innings eater. He's still got this stuff. Just got to figure out the home run ball. And I feel like with all of these long years contracts for pitchers, nothing's cheap this offseason, it seems like. So the 1 year deal could be an absolute steal for the Braves. And coming off a full offseason with our trainers coming off leg, things of that nature. Yeah, I'm really happy for the Crime Dog with the Hall of Fame. So happy. But I think Dale Murphy should be in, and it's dumb and sad, and I just don't get it, because even nowadays, well, definitely nowadays, but where you have to be on a good team, generally speaking, for you to get MVP consideration. And the Braves are so bad in the 80s and he still won 2 MVPs. And you look at a lot of his numbers and a lot of guys that are in the Hall of Fame, he has better numbers than. And obviously, he continues to handle it with grace and class, but it's insane. It really is insane to me. That was one of my cool moments. I think it was during COVID. One of my friends or somebody had asked me to do a video on why I think that Dale should be in the Hall of Fame, and Dale responded, and my Twitter blew up, and it was absolutely incredible. So I will always have a special place in my heart for Dale Murphy, not only what he did on the field, what he continues to do for the Braves off the field, restaurants, and what he did for me personally. Just acknowledging my video is one of the coolest things ever, and I think it just continues to be wrong. But I think I think the Hall of Fame is continually flawed because the different eras and how the game is played is so different. But I think Dale Murphy's game plays in any era, and the fact that he didn't get in is really disheartening and not fair and a lot of different things. But wow, the Hornets can't make any threes. But he's always gonna be one of my favorites, whether he gets in or he doesn't. But it's definitely a crime. But at least the crime dog himself was justified. Let's see. The Colton Wong and Jesse Winker trade was definitely very interesting. I think the I think that's always been my argument about the Hall of Fame. Should be best in their eras, and we should make our own Hall of Fame, and Dale Murphy would definitely be first ballot for me. But even honestly, even the Ped guys, I understand what the pushback for the reason not to on that. But I honestly would even consider the Ped guys because again, it's a different era and it was accepted to a degree. So that's my thought on that. And probably in the minority there that it is what it is. But let's see. So I wish the free agents would realize though that they don't have to go to the NL East, but it's always funny because you feel like the Mets and Phillies. Yeah, he's the only two-time MVP because I looked some extra stats up when I did the video. He's the only two-time MVP to not be in the Hall of Fame. So I really don't get it. But back to today because I don't think I did it fully. The Mets and the Phillies spend stupid money, and you knew the Mets were going to have like a knee-jerk reaction to losing Jacob deGrom. And yes, I'm surprised that he went to the Rangers. But if somebody offered me
since I was little, I wanted to be a part of a team.
Yeah, it's really unfair. You really don't want to go down the rabbit hole of who's in the Hall of Fame and when Dale Murphy's not, because it just makes your blood boil, and I don't think it's fair because like Hudson said, baseball's been around so long. There's different eras. There's different expectations in modern day baseball versus back then and things of that nature. And I think Dale Murphy and his stats fit in any era, but that's just me. I do find it funny that Mets fans are annoyed that Jacob deGrom hasn't had a thank you message or whatever the case and all that stuff. And they're saying they didn't really want him anyway. Yeah, you did. And I didn't realize that Jacob deGrom was already 34. And obviously roping $720 million into Corey Seager, Marcus Semien, and now Jacob deGrom is definitely a choice. But with Bruce Bochy coming into the fold and just kind of a new, fresh start for Jacob deGrom, I don't see that he was just taking the money. And honestly, if somebody offered me $185 million, 5 years, and I was that talented, I don't think I could turn that down, even if it was from the Pirates. So that's my thoughts on the Jacob deGrom situation. And best of luck to him in Texas. Like I said, it's going to be a lot easier watching him because he's not in the NL East. And Justin Verlander. Justin Verlander, we'll see if he has the Mets injury luck. Yeah, no kidding. Stop trying to make our division harder. I think, well, obviously money situations and things, but our division has been the toughest for years. Excluding the years that maybe we were rebuilding, I think it was the toughest. It's been the toughest for years. But the one thing that Trey Turner signing with the Phillies does is it squashes the nightmare of Dansby signing with the Phillies, because I really thought that might happen, and that would have been absolute worst. Yeah, and then what do you call I'm not sure what the Marlins are. Still, I think they're still pesky with all the pitching. Brian Reynolds has been linked to the Marlins for that reason, because they have a surplus of pitching. I don't know if I agree that we have a surplus of pitching. I actually wouldn't mind adding something pitching wise, but again, it depends on the contract, and I honestly don't know what kind or any of that. I just, you can never have enough pitching, so that kind of is weird. But I am interested. I would so take like a Mitch Haniger for left field, and then A. Rosario at DH, and then obviously whatever we do at shortstop. But again, it doesn't give me the warm and fuzzies to have Vaughn Grisham at short to begin the year. But if you shore up left field with a bigger name, and somehow get rid of the Marcell Ozuna contract, I know, again, a lot impossible, but that's if we got a bigger name left fielder, I think I could stomach Vaughn Grisham being our starting shortstop a little better. But yeah, that's just my thought on that. I saw that Luis Ariz, the AL batting champ for the Twins, might be on the market. So that's an interesting name to look at as well. There was a brief rumor that the Braves were frontrunners to acquire Oakland A catcher Sean Murphy, and he is definitely the best catcher, and it would have made things very, very interesting had we done that. But we all know not to believe anything unless the Braves tweet it. Yeah, I mean, we're kind of stuck with the Marcell Ozuna thing. for
We've got this soccer crazy producer who's talking about soccer at all times these days. You back that line, I like to myself.
I mean, I feel like we kick the tires on every big name, but our big name, Matt Olson, Matt Olson's kind of a big name. Yeah, Marcell Ozuna's contract is the black hole plus the baggage with the off the field stuff. But the Braves' crystal ball is the hardest to predict out of any team because no rumor, no anything makes, unless we tweet it out, it's probably not true. So that's just my thought on that. Yeah, and this is why I know I think the Phillies are strong. Obviously, they had a magical run. I think they still need pitching, and I think the Mets need a few more pieces, especially in the bullpen. Now do I hope they do it? No, but that's what they still need, and they've got a lot of contracts and a lot of money tied up in smaller people, or not smaller people, big name contracts that they're not going to be able to get out of easily. Kind of like our Marcell Ozuna one, but our Marcell Ozuna one is the only bad contract we really have. I guess you could say the Eddie Rosario one's a little bad, but what is it, 1 year, $9 million now, and maybe with a full off season and the fact that he can see. But our division's always been strong, and I don't think that's gonna change. I am interested to see which prospect in our system is gonna come up and torment the majors. Who's the next Spencer Strider, Michael Harris the second? I'm not sure which, but I'm excited to find out. And you make a great point that we are blessed with AA, but there are a lot of people on Twitter and Braves Twitter that want us to make a knee-jerk reaction, and I don't want us to make a knee-jerk reaction. We haven't been a knee-jerk reaction team ever since AA has come aboard, and we don't really spend huge on free agents, so it'll be interesting. Mitch Haniger, as I mentioned earlier, Michael Wacha kind of makes sense in terms of the track record of what AA does in terms of free agency. But that is yeah. Well, the bad part is with Marcell Ozuna and Eddie Rosario, you almost have 2 DHs because Eddie Rosario kind of leaves things desired as well. Defensively. I think my this year's Kyle Wright, if we don't trade him, and obviously that's sort of a possibility, is Ian Anderson. I really think that he can take the massive leap forward that we need him to take. And he was amazing in the playoffs. No hitting a Houston team 5 innings. I don't care what the conditions are, what that stuff is impressive. I know he's been a 5 and dive and needs to get over the pulling the teeth thing with the 5 innings and an extra pitch, developing the changeup and curveball. But I honestly feel like it's a little more in the airs as well for Ian. So I think Kyle Wright, this year's Kyle Wright, for me, it will be Ian Anderson. And I agree that Spencer Strider is 1 in a million, and we are lucky as all get out to be able to oh yeah. Yeah, that would be phenomenal. I actually think I think Muller, but he has a bit of
Soft shot gets thrown. The PJ's got 12. Oubre's got 13. Kawhi Leonard.
I don't even know why I watched the Hornets. But out of, if I'm gonna give you an order, I out of my hearts of my hearts, I want Mike Soroka to be one of those guys, just because being snake bit with injuries, is kind of, it breaks my heart that he has been. So it'd be super sweet icing on the cake if Mike was one of them. But Muller Muller's probably a little bit more likely than Ian Anderson to bounce back, but I'm sticking to my Ian Anderson pick because Kyle Muller has much better stuff and can get away with stuff a little easier. Bryce showed definite flashes of brilliance at times. So that is also a possibility. And imagine, that would be absolutely insane if we hit on those. And then you got guys in the farm like Jared Schuster, Owen Murphy, J.R. Ritchie. Yeah, Ian's changeup still is unhittable, even when he's in bad stretches. Even when he's in bad stretches, that thing is still unhittable. But yeah, I feel like Kyle Muller is probably the most likely to hit positive returns out of those guys. But I'll quickly we talked about Dale Murphy and Fred McGriff. Really sad for Dale. It doesn't make sense. Fred, well-deserved, long time coming. But honestly, I think I touched on this earlier, but Dale Murphy is the only two-time MVP to not be in the Hall of Fame. So those are my brief thoughts on that. I'll be interested to see if a guy like Jared Schuster makes an appearance in our bullpen / rotation. Our first round pick from Wake Forest a couple of years ago. I don't know why that name still resonates in my brain as the guy that I think everybody in Braves country is. Mike is just such a good guy, and no one deserves to have this stuff have this stuff happen in a career. No one does, and as dominant as he was in 2019, whew, if we had him, Max, Strider, Kyle, and Max and Kyle are what they are now, whoa, that would have been deadly. But who knows? I'm really hoping for it, and it'll be interesting to watch in spring training. Again, it depends on how we fill out the roster because we still have the Rule 5 draft and some things coming up very, very, very soon. I'm actually surprised we predicted Braden Shoemake. He was supposed to be the next big shortstop prospect, but has really, I don't want to say flamed out, but just so inconsistent. We've changed his swing about 4 or 5 times, so he could be a trade piece. Honestly, the Dansby look-alike almost. So there's a thing there, but obviously I talked about this kid last time, Justin Henry Malloy. Could be the next Omar Infante, Martin Prado, utility type or left field type, that because his play discipline, his strike zone awareness is already big league ready, and that is kind of something the Braves have somewhat lacked, is a OBP, on base percentage king, and I think that would be a nice little fit in our lineup somewhere. Obviously, he'll be something to watch in spring training, especially, but that could be the next position player promotion for the Braves. So that, see, that pretty much covers the Braves. I think, unless anybody else has any other questions or whatever. I am surprised that the Yankees signed Brian Cashman to a 4-year contract extension, especially not with the Aaron Judge situation resolved and whatnot. An interesting one, I heard that Xander Bogaerts has been interested in, or the team most interested in Xander Bogaerts is the D-backs. So that's an interesting one. And Xander Bogaerts is pretty consistent, and I don't think anybody talked about him as much as he probably should be talked about, honestly. He's kind of reminds me of the Nick Markakis of shortstops. Doesn't do anything flashy. He's just super consistent. That would be interesting, but I wonder how the Trey Turner contract affects the shortstop market as a whole. It probably helps Correa more. Nick Markakis was definitely the start to our rebuild. And I remember everybody so mad at that when it first happened and so confused. But I feel like he was the first guy to change our culture and create a winning mindset. So that was, and that's what Xander Bogaerts gives me the feel of. Obviously, I didn't watch him as much in the American League, but that's my thoughts on Xander. And yeah, Nick Markakis was huge in the locker room, and culture matters to Alex Anthopoulos and company. Marcell Ozuna notwithstanding, he made his own bed, and unfortunately the Braves have to lie in that. But it's much appreciated that culture and wanting to be a Brave really matters. So we'll see how everything plays out. But no matter what happens, I trust AA 100%. Whether now they're not all gonna work out. Obviously the Marcell Ozuna one hasn't, but not from our doing. But it matters. But it doesn't matter because I'm gonna be a Braves fan no matter what. But it is fun and also kind of nerve-wracking being a good team, because you want to you want your team to make moves, but you also got to balance the not overpaying to make the latter part of those contracts unbearable. And I think that's where the Mets and Phillies are, and the Braves are in a really, really good spot. And that there aren't a ton of holes to fill. Obviously, some magic could still go down with the surplus of catching depth that we have. Travis, Willie C, and Manny Pena. I honestly see Manny Pena getting traded before any of them, but who knows? Again, the crystal ball for Alex Anthopoulos is about as cloudy as it could be. The bullpen is solid still, and it's funny to me. I got a notification today that the Angels were looking for a shortstop and a back into the rotation piece, a back into the bullpen piece, and they traded Raisel Iglesias to us last year, so that was kind of funny to me. I don't know that I had Trey Turner, Justin Verlander, and Jacob deGrom being the first big free agent domino to fall. I don't know that I had that at all, but it's kind of fun to finally see some crevices and some movement. I think it just tells you how much respect Dansby and AA and Dansby have for each other, and I think it means it's intriguing for sure, and I think that it means they're on better terms than Freddie and Alex Anthopoulos. And I think it probably opens the door a little more. And I would love to have Dansby back. No doubt, for his defensive presence and the clutchness of his offense and everything that he brings to the table. So I think that can give you a little bit more hope. And at least that maybe if there is an exit for Dansby Swanson, it will be less fiery and weird than Freddie's. Obviously, we touched on it earlier that Freddie should have talked to his agent better. So hopefully there's better communication there, and that the conversation between Alex Anthopoulos and Dansby that has supposedly happened tells you that there's a better line of communication than there was. So, and no lockout definitely helps with that kind of stuff for sure. So anything can happen. None of us know anything clearly, even though a lot of us figured that Trey Turner would go back to the East Coast. He's always said that he preferred the East Coast. I didn't think he would get 11 years. I don't think anybody is worth 11 years, but and not saying that Trey Turner is not a great player and not overall great, but I just don't see that working out completely for all the years. But I mean, and then once Jacob deGrom signed with the Rangers, the Mets had to do something, and with their deep pockets and stupid money, they were going to do something. So a lot of it really hasn't been a surprise, except Jacob deGrom and the Rangers. But no lockout definitely helps. The Seattle Mariners are putting together a nice little solid team. I am surprised, though, the Mariners and Brewers traded the way they did, because it was supposed to be just a money swap. Colton Wong, $9.5 million or $10 million, and Jesse Winker was worth $9.5. So yeah, and all these guys thinking they're gonna play past 40. Maybe. I mean, with the DH in every league and in both leagues, rather, it's possible. But I mean, and Trey Turner's not the greatest defensive shortstop that there is. So that's interesting to follow. Yeah, I guess. Well, even Tom Brady's learning he's not invincible this year. But I know DH in both leagues definitely changes that a little bit. Maybe more than it should, but good for them. They're getting great contracts, and not saying that these guys, the Phillies definitely needed a shortstop, and it's going to be extra fun. It's definitely going to be extra fun to watch the division. Probably a little bit more stressful. But I'm still honestly really happy we don't have to deal with Jacob deGrom. I really am. I still can't really figure out the Marlins, except the fact that they have really good pitching. Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think, again, the conversations are great, and it's all you can have. Open line of communication. Dansby is getting married to Mallory Pugh this week, so that's also a big step for him. And getting that conversation in before then, pretty positive as well. Sorry, guys. A hamburger and fried potatoes. is the dinner tonight. But yeah, I think any positive communication is a good thing when in terms of free agency.
Won the toss, the third, Bucks are taking the ball. Eli, talk to Tom Brady. He has a lot of respect
So
for this Saints defense. They gave him trouble in the first game. If it weren't for a couple of Winston interceptions, the Saints probably win that game. The Saints are aggressive on D. They get in his receiver space. He thinks they got to get some shots over the top because the Saints are going to be bumping run.
well, what's the saying the Chipper said? If you want to be a Brave or if you want to be somewhere, be somewhere. I find it funny though that the Phillies fans are saying that Kyle Schwarber chose Philadelphia, Bryce Harper chose Philadelphia, Trey Turner chose Philadelphia. Yeah, that's the case, and good for them. And I'm really happy that those guys got the bag because they deserved it. But the Phillies really haven't been able to homegrown and develop their players, and that's the difference.
I expect this Saints defense to continue to play well. They don't blitz much. They really just rush four, and so they have a lot of bodies in there, and the passing lanes are tight.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. I was not specific on that. World Series champion Nansby and World Cup winning Mallory Pugh, superpower couple, are getting married this week. But I feel like
they're 31st in rushing attempts, first in passing attempts. So if you don't do it much.
So I feel like, I mean, the greater line of communication and the more they talk, the better it is, because we all know, as fans, Alex Anthopoulos doesn't BS. He doesn't. I mean, even if we don't like certain things, or even if we end up with a shortstop situation that we're not necessarily on board with this coming season, I feel like Alex Anthopoulos will make us feel better about it because he never.
They'll even use Godwin and Julio to chip a defensive end. Both those guys are physically strong enough to get a piece of that defense.
Yeah, just no. Well, if they don't, and what if they're not good at sports? Excuse me, yes. Yeah, what if they're not good at sports? That'll be iffy. But I can't remember what I was saying. But Hudson's power couple comment got me off track. But very, very true. But anyway, I think Alex Anthopoulos. I don't know. I think they might be happy if they wanted to be accountants or something. But I feel like Alex Anthopoulos doesn't BS us. He gives us the reason for many, many things. He gives us a straight answer, and it makes a lot of sense. And so in every free agent signing or every trade we make, there's a method to his madness. So I'm gonna trust it until I don't have a reason to trust it, and I don't think that's ever going to happen, to be honest. I really, really don't. 5 straight division titles and the World Series championship. Are we
has not been catching a lot of passes. That's a good sign. They can get him going. and paid him a lot of money this offseason. They need to get him going. Before the pass was thrown, holding defense number 27.
But I feel like it's a very important. I've been talking to some people and they've that are as invested as we are in there, and because the move is so important, shortstop and things of that nature, Alex Anthopoulos and company being very deliberate and making sure they're 1,000% on board with whatever decision they make makes me even more comfortable, because again, even though I would love for us to make a free agent move or a flashy one that breaks the internet and I get a lot of views and all that stuff, that's amazing, but I'm also in the camp of most of our core players are locked up, so there's not a lot to be nervous about, except for the fact that you just want to know, because you almost get personally invested in their personal lives and their lives, because we're in their lives, so to speak, for 6 months out of the year, 8 months out of the year, and it's very important to be comfortable with every single move you make. So that's what I really appreciate with the Braves and how we do things. So that's my thought on that overall, and Alex Anthopoulos is going to do what's best for him, and Dansby's going to do what's best for him and his family. Is there a? Let's see. What would happen if the Braves played in the NL Central? How many wins do you think we'd have? Like 110, 115, like the Dodgers or something?
He's got banged up off the offensive line. You can't sit there and go through a full 1, 2, get to 3. You gotta, if you don't think something's gonna be there, you gotta hurry up and get through it. Timeout. Tampa Bay, their first 30-second timeout.
I feel.
Saints need to hold the 3. The Saints do not want to get
That's true.
Shootout scoring contest in the Bucs, right? Saints need to be.
That's true, and that's also a good thing too. We
do some short passing game, but get down early would not be good for the Saints offense. Yeah, Bucs have done a great job. Offense not turning the ball over. They've lost some bad games and some teams. They lost 5 games. They lost 5 games.
I'm not good. I mean, I don't really know how to take any of. Yeah, I mean that's actually kind of nice, because that'll actually be kind of nice because of how stacked our division is, pitching and stuff. So, and it'll probably give you a better look at the better teams overall. I don't really know how to take any quotes about any free agent, Dansby or anybody else, because if it doesn't come from the Braves directly, it's kind of hard to. Even our beat writers are combative somewhat, so, and they just want to get people mad and fired up and whatnot, and it is what it is. I'm sure you guys know who I'm talking about, and I think
receivers. Feed me, right? Let me get into a rhythm. O-line likes to, they like to hit people to get into a rhythm. So, exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. Exactly, Hudson. That's a good way to put it. I mean, negotiations, and that's another thing. And that's another thing about free agents are negotiating. Yeah, it has to go both ways. So yeah. So I mean, negotiations happen between 1 and 2. It does. What is it? It takes 2 to tango. So.
He was blocking the guy over the top of him. So just a little miscommunication there.
So that's just the reality of. Yeah, I'm glad they're talking, and I hope whatever the real resolution is, whatever the result is, that we kind of have a better relationship. Whatever the relationship is, I hope it's a better one than what Freddie kind of left us. And I know that wasn't our fault, but just better human relationships because these guys are humans. So, and that's the ultimate reality of it. So.
CPI. Get our 3 most popular cameras for free during CPI's holiday sale. CPI Security. Identify yourself.
Yep. I mean, and coming off a career year, defensively, offensively, if he didn't go to free agency and test the waters, it's kind of it would be kind of unfair for him. And I just want him to do what's best for him, and hopefully that's end up back in Atlanta, but who knows? And yeah. They are really just a guess.
Those same 2 guys, Lovely and McDaniels, fighting each other for a rebound. You can hear somebody yelling, same. Is there like a baseball? 2 guys come in center field and ball. Yeah. Is there anyone who's dominant that situation? Ball. It's big guy ball. Paul George.
Well, here's the thing I do with impending free agents. For example, like Max or Dansby or Freddie, I just go with he's in a Braves uniform this year. Let's enjoy it and then see what happens. It's not the greatest strategy, but it's how I do it because I just don't want to think that far. And if I get too far into my head about free agencies and things of that nature, I'll go nuts. So I kind of go with that. Yeah, and I'm one to just kind of react to the deal when I see it because I'm not very good at predicting things. I never have been. So that's just my. Has anybody heard about Kenley Jansen? Because there's wasn't it like a month ago or something? He was supposed to sign a 2-year deal with the Giants, and then it never. I haven't seen anything, so who knows? We might still be in on that. I think it's the. Yeah, sign Mallory. Yeah, because I think Mallory plays in Chicago right now, and the bad part is Chicago needs a shortstop. So take that as you will too. But I totally agree. I'm on board with that plan. But yeah, I mean. Yeah, she could play anywhere. You're right. So I mean, I don't know that that's a factor, but I think they're just worried about their impending nuptials unless he just randomly signs a contract tomorrow and then is like, okay, don't bother me for a month or something. But it's honestly, I just want to know, and I'm excited to know. But and then that kind of thing. Yeah, San Francisco wants Jansen, but I figured they would. I figured they would.
Paul George, he tried to throw that ball ahead and chase it down.
That rumor started like a month ago, so I figured they might have it done by now. But maybe they're worried about Judge right now, and then they'll go back. But that would be really weird. That if Jansen goes to the Giants and he tormented, so he could torment the Dodgers in own division, even though they only play 14 times. But Jock always wanted to be in the NL West, and I was really happy that we were able to get him the way we did. And obviously, yeah, I've always liked the Giants, so if sorry, I'm distracted by the Hornets. Crazy time. I don't know. I think it's either the Giants or the Yankees for Judge. To be honest, that's where I lean there. Yeah, I don't know how much Jansen has left in the tank either. I think we're pretty set with Iglesias as our closer at this point, and I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind that at all. But I feel like the Judge, it's either Giants or Yankees, and maybe a mystery team because he said he has a 9-year deal on the table. Yeah. And the funny thing is, next offseason, there is no big time free agents like this. Really not. So we better enjoy it. Even though I'm kind of balky on Judge and how much to give him because he's already had a prevalent injury history. And this year he kind of got really lucky with injuries and obviously having the historic season that he did, parlaying it into whatever this contract is. But obviously it helps with whatchamacallit, his free agent deal this year, whatever that is. But I think any of them's a risk, but I think the Judge contract might be even bigger risk than anything.
I believe you're here tonight to guarantee a Saints victory. Is that correct?
That is correct. You are correct, sir. And it's going to happen. I'm sorry. I just, but the Saints have done well. Not week 2 against the Bucs, but traditionally over the years they've done well. Even playing.
Yeah, I mean what is Dansby, 28? I think Dansby's the youngest out of the bunch, and then what is Correa? It's weird to me that Correa's market, or even the rumors haven't really sparked with Correa at all, which is weird because I think he's the best overall player.
Needs to be nicer to me, and I've told my mom this, I've told my dad
So,
this.
but that's that.
Well, I heard he took that shot at you about being an Ole Miss grad. I mean, come on. I mean, sometimes I feel like I'm going to be your mom because I bet you heard that a lot growing up. Be kind to your brother now. Leave little Eli alone.
But I mean, Correa is probably the best overall out of all the shortstops, in my opinion. But I don't know.
Byron, you hosted Jeopardy in 2021. You said you were very nervous for that. You said it was a bucket list.
Yeah.
You don't seem very nervous tonight. Is this thing appearing on the Manning cast was not a bucket list item for you?
No, my friend. It means I'm in.
Or teammate, you got Reggie Jackson's pretty much.
Man, we were up. Yeah, I'm watching the Hornets, and we were up 8 when I turned it off, and now we're only up 4 and about to be only up 2 in a second. How do we do that? Yeah. Well, maybe I should stop watching because now it's 80 to 80.
He didn't play that particularly well, but a little better throw to him. He probably picks up that first down. DeMar to the rookie to punch.
I just
Hanging punt forces the fair catch by Shaheed. 46-yard punt ball placed inside the 22nd possession for Andy Dalton and the Saints. Down 3.
Are we here to win?
yeah. So there again. Hudson's right. They're all late 20s, early 30s. Trey is 29. That's why I mentioned the 40-year comment earlier.
They're the official line sponsor of the NFL.
Correa's only 28. Wow. So yeah. But I feel like Correa is gonna get like 350 to 400 if Trey Turner got 300. But just guess.
There you are again. No desserts. Wait. Hey. Thank you.
Domino's online carryout deal includes all your favorites for just $7.99 each. So let's play a word association game. Dips and twists.
$7.99.
Trevor Story got 6,140, right? And so did Baez. And I think Dansby's better than neither of those two. Well, I mean, Trevor Story's probably a very comparable there. Yeah, I mean, shortstop's such a premium position. But you're also comparing a little bit apples to oranges because each guy gives you different things a little bit.
Bucks lead 3-0 against the Saints. We got Robin Roberts with us. He's been a good luck charm for the Saints so far.
Yeah, that's what you would think. So that's kind of what scares me about the Braves, because I don't know that they're gonna do that. But
I like Taysom Hill. I like when he gets the ball. I think he brings some energy to this offense, and they got to find a way.
Yeah, did it tell you how much money it was worth?
One of your teammates right now, DNA, is my former teammate Michael Strahan, and earlier this year you showed a little clip of what he does kind of behind the scenes. I think I have a video right here. What impresses you more is the way he has transitioned into media or his dancing skills? What's more impressive?
It's the top stuff. It's the top stuff you like. I mean, look at it. And there's that.
Well, the Colts being as brutal as they were last night helped my fantasy because I had Dallas's defense. But it's kind of sad for sure.
I think you're lucky that your co-host just does dancing. What I have to deal with in the commercial breaks is completely different. Oh, what a catch. No. Let's go. There you go, Rob. No, it's here. Let's
Yeah.
honest reaction.
So I mean, the Colts being that bad, the Panthers, the Falcons have had their moments of bad, but at least we didn't get outscored 33-0 in a quarter.
You know what? I've been a fan since your daddy was the Saints.
Yeah. I like what the Orioles have done, especially with their farm system and allowing guys to come up and see what they are. See what they got, Adley Rutschman, that kind of thing, and taking the big step forward that they have. Super awesome. But yeah, the Colts being that bad helped my fantasy team. That's about all I need to say about that one. Orioles aren't playing anymore. What do you mean? Yeah, they are. I mean, but yeah, I think I agree. I don't think the 6th year is going to be an issue for the Braves, and I did see that Alex Anthopoulos said that the luxury tax isn't going to be an issue, even though Dave O'Brien wants to make it an issue. Oh, yeah, the Orioles aren't playing around anymore, and I like that and I like that they're doing it kind of the way we have with a lot of our farm system, and a lot of them obviously you got to see it work out and things of that nature. But I think it's nice to see. Yeah. So that's nice to see.
Robin, stay with us. I know you got to get up early in the morning, but we need you for a little bit of the second quarter. Stay with us.
I think you're at the point of the season where you kind of need to see what you got in Riddler. But it's kind of nice to have the same the NFC South be as annoyingly bad as it is, and everybody watch it and see, and kind of misery loves company when it comes to Falcon fans, Panther fans, that kind of thing, because we're all in a. Although I think the Panthers have a lot of building pieces, and a lot of good core pieces. We just can't figure out that quarterback position yet. And it's kind of annoying, but it is what it is this year, and I hope we keep Steve Wilkes, to be honest. I mean, yeah, if you don't start 10 million, wow, it's kind of a lot for Kyle Gibson, given that he gave up a bit, a lot of.
And maybe see the one and only Taylor Swift. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Given a lot, given his stats last year weren't the greatest, but maybe him in Oriole Park, and he's a nice veteran, so that's not terrible.
Your battle with cancer was well documented this year. November 29th through December 11th is a 6.
How you feel about Kyle Gibson's contract or Panthers? Or
I remember 1993 when the foundation started at the ESPYs. I was there with Jim Galvin, and they just, don't give up, don't ever get up speech. In fact, I was the next one on stage after that speech to know where we've gone from there.
Yeah, I mean, it's iffy, but the old rule that 1 year deals aren't. There's no bad 1 year deals. That is the ultimate rule. That's the ultimate rule, and I think that's what it should be. He gives up a lot of homers, but so does Charlie Morton. Or Charlie Morton doesn't have the track record, but this year it was the track record. So I think it's nice. It's a good veteran get for the Orioles.
Just missed them. Should they go for it, Robin, or you like the punt? You okay with the punt here?
No, it's early. We got the trickery back in the Super Bowl. Remember that onside kick to start the second half?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. One of my favorite memories. Yeah, let's talk about that game, Robin. Bring up what happened in that game? Who won that?
So I mean,
that was not on the script. This was not on the script. I had some more Charlie Steiner questions I want to get to.
Terry is going to have free throws after making a technical free throw a moment ago, or are they going to say inside out of bounds? Wow, so again, Terry bringing it low, Bill, and not getting the benefit of the doubt.
But I think, wow, the Hornets 91-91 to the Clippers in the fourth quarter. It's a bit surprising, but usually we can't finish even when we're in close games. So I'm not expecting much here, but sorry, I had to see that fast break. Yeah, I think the Orioles are going to be super pesky, and at some point in the next 5 years, they're going to be a perennial playoff team. I'm really interested. Our division is definitely agreed. And that's agreed, and that's what people are worried about. That since we spend $20 million on Morton, does that mean that we're not going to spend money? But Alex Anthopoulos just said he's not going to worry about the luxury tax as long as it improves our team. He's not going to worry about that. And I think you always need a veteran in your rotation. So Luke Kennard. So I have no problem with the Charlie Morton deal. And I feel like there's a track record, and even as annoying as his homers and all that stuff, he still eats up innings. It's still very, very important and does all that. Yeah, it's actually the winter meeting. Well, tomorrow. They officially start tomorrow. The winter meetings start. But that's why I'm kind of surprised that we've gotten some big free agent signings, a lot more tomorrow, and so I'm really happy and excited again where the Braves stand, and it helps that we don't have a lot of holes. It's kind of a black hole and a little bit of a brick with the Marcell Ozuna contract, but we'll see how that goes. And shortstop's obviously an interesting spot, and we'll see what happens. But I feel like we're all but I think I covered everything. Did I miss any big contracts or topics that need to be discussed?
Defense here, Robin. You like the blitz? You want the Saints to blitz Brady here? What do you think? You can say that.
That's not what we do.
Good call. 4-man rush. No blitz. He's running deep again. Wow. I'm telling you. He's mad. His two deep balls he's missed in a row. Think he's mad? You think? Not saying all shots there either. I saw me.
Yeah, Liberty Media. What was the term? Flexibility, financial flexibility. I don't think we don't have to worry about that too much now, and that's really nice to that is really nice to. Oh, good. Kuka, I guess Verlander and those guys got first team. Yeah, well, I try to be an encyclopedia. Have a nice night, and thanks for joining, and I appreciate all your questions and the interactiveness. It's great, and it's what I need, so I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm really glad the Braves don't yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. But Max getting second team means he's really close. Means he's really close, and getting second in Cy Young means he's really close again. As Hudson brought up earlier, it's scary to think what he's gonna get in free agency, but let's not think about that right now. But
the fastest speeds in the nation. You deserve Spectrum Business. In fact, thousands
That's
of
just
independent tests confirm.
So the data's good.
The data's real good.
the Monday Night Football games, barn burner, Bucks and Saints 3-0 in the second quarter. So.
Seems like things are very complicated these days. Are you sure
I think
No. That's why Spectrum.
I think all of the pitching contracts are just going to be astronomically weird, large numbers that technically don't make sense. So I'm just gonna resign myself to that. Even the reliever contracts. 5 years, $100 million for Diaz. I mean, it's just kind of nuts. All of the money that's been thrown around. I don't think there's room for many discounts.
Why are you with us tonight and not on the field out there with your own quarterback?
Well, first of all, man, thank you guys for having me on, and two, man, I still have the love for the game, Peyton, and they always say age is just a number, and I still feel I can play, but right now I'm enjoying being on Sunday Countdown with the crew, with Rex and
Randy Moss just said he thinks he can still play.
So, hey, you gotta be honest though. When you retired in 2012, after that, how many times does Tom text you asking you to come back? Well, the crazy thing about it was I had an opportunity.
I don't know either. That's scary. Especially if Max continues to stay healthy. Knock on wood, of course. But he had Tommy John when he was in. Yeah, a lot for sure.
We'll get to a few more Brady questions here in a bit, but I want to ask. Obviously, you had a great collegiate career at Marshall, but when you were coming out of high school, you went on a visit to Tennessee, and Peyton was your host. Why did you not go to Tennessee? I assume it's because he took you out to dinner and you saw him eat, and you were so disgusted. You said, "I can't be around this for 4 years." But what was the real reason you didn't go to Tennessee and follow Peyton? You know what was crazy was that my initial visit to Tennessee wasn't as crazy because my first visit was Notre Dame, was a great throw right there. But it was my first visit to Notre Dame was special because that's where my heart was. So but
yeah, I think that's pretty much it for today. I don't know that there's anything else. If there is, I will add it for next week. Hopefully we have as much or more to talk about.
I was seeing my girlfriend, now wife, at Virginia. I got up at 3 in the morning, drove all the way back. I said, Randy, we're going to throw it every play here. 3 years.
Oh yeah, that one's hilarious because my brothers are huge Tennessee fans, and apparently Dabo had some trash talk, and then he backed up on the trash talk.
This was not Bill Belichick's idea. It was
So
Kraft's idea. It's not even Brady's idea. This was your idea. No 6. You snuck in.
yeah, so that should be an interesting matchup. But I honestly would take Clemson right now. And I'm guessing I'm not allowed to say that for my brothers, but
16 years later after the fact. Well, the crazy part, this is how it really.
Unfortunately, both can't lose, but I get the sentiment of that for sure. You really got UT after Hidden and Hooker got hurt, and I think Cade Klubnik is gonna play in that one now. So
they had a Monday night football game in Minnesota. I had an opportunity to meet up with Thomas, sneaking in the hotel, where you have all the players. So I know how the players get around, getting on the exit stairs and moving around. So I just put my hood on, came through the lobby, found the exit stairs, and walked all the way up. I think
the Atlanta Braves Twitter accounts got me all weirded because they keep tweeting congratulations and retweeting about Fred McGriff, and they just tweeted congratulations to Max Fried when I actually think that they're doing something, but they don't do something.
And what's so funny about that starter jacket, Peyton, that was my first starter jacket my mom bought me, so I cherish that with the little pocket, the little zipper in the pocket right here in the front. So I remember just sitting there right there in the basketball stadium with it on. I remember it.
When you signed with the Patriots, when you got traded, Bill Belichick supposedly called you, and you immediately hung up on him. Tell us what happened there.
Yep. Do you guys think that I should just keep it on Mondays or change the day or just keep it on Mondays? Would be a nice. You think Mondays are a good day?
I wanted to be there, show my support, and I had a great time. And so we went out to celebrate later on that night, and so I got a random phone call on my phone. So I answered it, and there was a deep voice in the Randy. I was like, Randy. I'm like, who is this? So it's Bill Belichick. So I immediately hung up because I'm sitting up there thinking, oh, a great throw, Dalton. Touchdown. That's a great throw. Come on, defense.
Hey,
But
Sluggo. Looked like Sluggo seam, Randy. He checked the slant go. He checked the seam. I think the corner overlapped inside.
yeah, I think I'll keep it on.
Kind of on the wheel route.
Yeah, here it is right here. You got Taysom Hill in that tight end position running that out. I don't know why.
All right, I'll make them 7:30 on Mondays, and then if I need to make them later or earlier, depending on the day, or depending on what's going on that day, I will 7:30 or 8 on Mondays. I will make that happen. Thanks, guys, for.
Randy, stay with us. We got some more questions.
Thanks, guys, for an awesome long live. So hopefully this helps the watch hours a little extra. I know I space out a little bit while watching sports at the same time, but I just can't help that. So, but it's been a kind of cool, nice addition, and that way I can catch you guys up on everything and all that stuff. So, as always, go Braves, champions forever, and I will see you guys next Monday.
I'm sorry, Mom. I forgot the sweet potatoes.
Chicken, Italian spicy bacon, chicken.